So the question is, what do you see are the issues underlying homelessness in the Caloundra electorate, and what strategies will you implement in the next term if elected? What do you commit to delivering for social and affordable housing, specifically in 4551 and more broadly on the Sunshine Coast in the next term if elected? They're very specific questions looking for commitment here.
The commitment, I think, should be more broader than 4551. I'm not going to change the question, but the postcode only covers part of the electorate of Caloundra. So it speaks about Caloundra, Landra, and Biwa. We shouldn't forget that. One of the driving forces here is rent affordability and cost of living. So all of these cost of living measures that the government is rolling out is, as I said at the outset, aimed at giving people the ability to keep one nostril above water. The electricity rebates, the rego rebates, the 15 hours of free kindy, the free TAFE for your adolescent kids, that sort of thing. That's freeing up income that allows you to put it back into keeping a roof over your head. Cracking down, I think, on the scourge of Airbnbs. I think keeping Airbnbs open around the Sunshine Coast and vacant for 8 months of the year, I think that's an issue. I would like to look at that personally myself. Our government has boosted support in the last budget to agencies that deal with the homeless and homelessness by 20%. So they've all got a big lift, but that is treating the symptom, not the disease. So it goes back to that availability of land, the cost of living, and also working with providers like Churches of Christ and Coast Bay. We have rolled out some absolutely fantastic housing unit complexes right around from Biwa, Yandina, Narimba, Baringa, Banya, and Caloundra, and they're all targeted at 1 and 2 bedroom units, and targeting the demographic that is facing homelessness most, which is women over 55. You get those people out of the existing social houses and you free up the larger social houses for families who are needing it as well.
I and the LNP 100% recognise that we are living in a time with a housing crisis, and the number one reason why housing prices and rent prices are increasing is a complete and utter lack of supply. It's pretty basic economics, and the principles with that are that we simply are 1 million homes short in southeast Queensland. So our policies around housing are all about addressing the over 40,000 Queenslanders that are on the social housing waitlist, making sure people can actually own their own home, and that is a realistic dream. When we compare state by state, we have the lowest rates of home ownership here in Queensland in the country, and we are committed to our policies making sure that goes from the bottom of the report card up to the top. I met a lovely woman a couple of months ago, and she was 7 to 8 months pregnant when I met her, and she had a 10-year-old son, and she has been on the wait list for social housing for 7 years. She's reached out to everyone possible to help and keeps getting, there's not enough, there's not enough, there's not enough. Now, part of our housing policies are we also are axing a tax. So that is the first home builders grant for people building their first home, because the best investment that we can have into increasing supply in the housing market is for more homes to be built. And we will work with local governments in order to unlock land while still, for this electorate, prioritising the infrastructure that has to go with them. We also have a shared equity scheme and have a commitment to working with faith-based organisations. But what we've identified loud and clear for the people that are local is that the big gap exists in the absence of crisis accommodation. So plans take a long time, but what do we do with the people who are facing or homeless today? And there'll be something coming soon around that too. But thank you.
you. As my previous answer's been quite short, I'm going to request an extra minute for this one because we've got lots to talk about. Sorting out homelessness in 2 minutes. How easy is that? So firstly, we need to start by acknowledging that a lot of homelessness is due to mental health. We've forced a lot of people with mental health issues out onto the street. The Greens want to start initiatives such as free GP clinics, which include mental health. Mental health is a basic right, not a luxury, and we want to employ 1,000 clinical and registered psychologists and 20 free sessions for mental health for everyone every year. We need to look at housing affordability. In Caloundra, rents are up by 43% since 2021. We want to freeze and cap rent increases for the next 2 years to allow wages to catch up. And after that, they can only be gone up by 1% per year. Renters will also have increased rights with guaranteed rights to lease renewal and strengthen minimal rental standards. We want to build public houses. For too long, the old two parties have left the supply of homes to private developers. Imagine what would happen if we left healthcare and education to only private institutions. You know what's going to happen, and that's exactly what's happened. The prices have gone up. We want to build homes that people can actually afford, that are sustainable, with insulation, high ceilings, cross ventilation and shared spaces and green spaces with gardens and courtyards. We also want to develop cheaper mortgages by a public bank, a state government owned bank like we used to have, with interest rates 1.5 lower than the current Big Four. We can do that by cutting out corporate profits and CEO salaries. Currently the 4 big banks made 30 billion of profit every year. There's a bit of fat we can cut there. We'll offer savings accounts and credit cards for households and FTOS with free no transaction fees for small businesses.